It's a little hard to imagine how revolutionary Resident Evil Remake was for its time in this remake-centric era. Nowadays, games are being remade left and right, trying to capture some sort of nostalgia for a bygone era. Or hell, era's not even that far into the past. Just take a look at Skyrim's plethora of remasters. Gaming studios have tried so hard to pander to this sort of stuff that it feels kind of sickening at times. I say all this to preface that when a remake is warranted, when you take a game that is truly from a different era of gaming altogether and format it for the modern era while keeping the soul of the essence of the game, it can turn into a truly amazing experience. Resident Evil 2 was a game that many people were begging for a remake of. Resident Evil's remake was such a wonderful hit that it only seemed natural that the other two games get something as well. And while Resident Evil 3 got a port a year after Remake's release in 2003, the next time we'd see anything resembling RE2 in any form is in 2004's Resident Evil 4. But time passed. Nothing but fan concepts of a Resident Evil 2 remake on YouTube had ever dared to surface. Resident Evil, as a franchise, had fallen flat, with Resident Evil 6 nearly killing the franchise as it lost its place in the horror scene. And then, in the year 2018, it finally happened.
Jesus Christ.
Now, in the moment, I felt surprised. I felt excited. But honestly, looking back, I really don't think I should have been. And I think it can be summed up to two reasons. The first reason is the engine the game uses. Capcom's newest in-house engine used for Resident Evil 2 is called the RE engine, shortened for Reach for the Moon engine. Now, I'm not well versed on how game engines work and how to develop on them. Hell, the only software I somewhat know how to develop on is RPG Maker, and even that's a stretch. But from what I can tell, the RE engine has done exactly what Capcom has needed it to do. The game has been used for a plethora of Capcom's modern works, from their Resident Evil remakes, to Street Fighter 6, to DMC 5, to even the upcoming Monster Hunter Wilds. This is truly a versatile engine that can get a lot done, and it looks absolutely gorgeous to boot. The definition used in these games is astounding, and all of it came to be because of the game it was made for. The game that is the second and most important reason for Resident Evil 2 Remake's release. Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard was released in 2017, 2 years before Resident Evil 2's release and 1 year before its announcement. The game uses the RE engine to great effect, with Jack Baker in the molded looking especially great, and Marguerite Baker genuinely haunts my dreams more than I'll ever admit. This game helped revitalize not only Resident Evil, but the survival horror genre as a whole, which at this point was dominated by games like Outlast and Amnesia, where you didn't actually have means to fight back and only could run away. With only indie games and The Evil Within, damn it, I should probably work on that script sometime. It's really not working together, folks. Actually putting in the work to make survival horror truly alive again. So because of Resident Evil 7 and because of the engine created specifically for it, as well as the incredible success both game and engine have garnered, it really shouldn't have come as much of a surprise that the most requested game in the series to be brought back into the modern era was, in fact, remade. So with all that out of the way, let's finally take a look at Resident Evil 2 Remake and see how it upheld the promises made with Resident Evil 7 2 years earlier, shall we? The game begins, and we get to see just how good the RE engine is in this game with the beautiful look of a burger. And this even more beautiful look of a hit and run.
Oh, shit.
We cut to the introduction of the main character we'll be using for this run, one Leon Scott Kennedy, rookie cadet of Raccoon City's police department. We stop to gas up at the local 7-Eleven and find overpriced food and a man who seems to have drunk too many cherry Slurpees, putting us deeper into the station. We make it to the back to find a Floridian in their natural habitat, munching on the local cuisine. But, as we all know, Florida food is an affront to God, so we use our God-given right as an American to put some justice in his system. Unfortunately, it turns out this 7-Eleven was actually just a Super 8 in disguise, so we duck out and find someone else just trying to find their way out of Florida. This is Claire Redfield, younger sister to STARS member and future boulder punching extraordinaire, Chris Redfield. The duo escaped the Super 8 and decide to make their way into Raccoon City proper. But before we can make it into the station, Mr. Hit and Run heals over from a clogged artery and decides to do one last crime before kicking the bucket. Thankfully, we're able to get to safe distance, but unfortunately we got separated from Claire. The duo decided to meet up at the police station and we finally begin proper gameplay. We run down the street, avoiding the locals as we go, and finally get to the station where we see a man talking about a way out. So we make our way to the east wing of the station to try and help the guy out, but unfortunately he's a little split.
Please! Give me your hand. Help me! I got you. Give me your other hand. Jesus Christ.
But we're able to at least take his notebook and book it back the way we came, where we get introduced to Lieutenant Marvin Brana. It's here where we get to explore the police department a bit more freely. The main goal of this first section is to find 3 medals to open up this secret passageway to escape. The first medal is found at this lion statue right above the goddess statue, so it's a bit of a freebie. The next 2 we find a bit later, so let's take the time to discuss the gameplay a bit, shall we? Gaming has advanced quite a lot in the nearly 20 years since Resident Evil's remake. We're no longer bound to fixed camera angles and 3 positions of aiming. Now we're over the shoulder in third person with high precision aiming. This means we get greater control of how we get to interact with the zombies, and honestly, it feels amazing. We can aim at the legs to get them to crawl, aim at the head for a chance at a critical hit, or even better yet, a good shot to the head can stagger a zombie, which can let you run past them without needing to waste more ammo if you're smart enough about your movement. And this new way to take ammo into account is greatly supported by the new gunpowder mechanic. See, scattered across the stations are small bottles of gunpowder split into 3 varieties: normal, large, and yellow. Or, for Claire, normal, large, and white. While you can still find regular ammo around, these gunpowder bottles can help you play more to your style. This, combined with the aforementioned improvement to gunplay, makes actually playing this game feel so tight and satisfying to play. Resident Evil Remake might be my favorite game in the series, but there is no doubting this one's sheer quality of gameplay far surpasses the simple look and shoot of Remake. But back to the game itself, we find ourselves with the first key of the game, and another medal for the unicorn statue. We meet up with Marvin, who shows us his camera feed, and we find out that Claire made it to the station. So we meet up with her and flirt like 2 high schoolers whose only experience with romance are shitty 90s comedy films.
Hey! Leon?
Claire! Hold on! I'll be right there!
Okay!
Claire! It's so nice to see you.
How are you doing? That helicopter just came out of
Yeah.
nowhere.
I'm in one piece.
I'm guessing you don't have a key in one of those fancy pockets?
Unfortunately, no. But how are you doing?
You know, just surviving.
That's good.
Yeah.
Any luck with your brother?
No, not yet.
Claire, don't lose hope. I'm sure we're gonna find him. Damn it. You know what that means?
Yeah. Dinner time.
Claire, I think you should go.
Don't worry about me, Leon. You take care of yourself.
Claire, you need to go. Now!
Okay, let's get through this. Both of us.
Now that the helicopter got us out of that awkward situation, we pick up this valve for the locked room and meet the first instance of a new enemy encounter. Some weird looking cat.
Ma, there's a weird fucking stray cat outside. It looks like grandma, the fucking thing. Hey, get the fuck out of here. I don't even know if that's a fucking cat. Blink, motherfucker.
These things are more dangerous than your regular Floridian. They're a lot faster and have this vicious claw swipe that can deal quite a lot of damage. But, unfortunately for them, The water in the Sunshine State is about as safe right now as an ATF member visiting a Texas household, so they're blind as a rhino. This means that if you take your time and walk instead of running, you can pretty easily sneak by most of the encounters involving them. But after making a pit stop to the STAR's office to pick up a battery, we make our way to the 3rd floor and arm an explosive with the battery we just acquired to blow a hole in the gate blocking access to the final metal puzzle, meaning that we can now make our way to the escape, where Marvin decides to stay behind to his fate, holding Leon at gunpoint to make sure that he escapes. The entrance closes behind us and we take this lift and head down this pathway so that we can fight the first boss of the game, G1. Now, this fight is supposed to be this evasive encounter where we keep our distance and shoot the big glowing eye protruding out of G's shoulder. Unfortunately, Leon must have taken a vacation in England before visiting Raccoon City, because this fight can be trivialized by a good old shanking. If you stay close to G's massive arm and keep swiping with the knife, you'll be able to take him out without needing to waste so much as a single bullet. With that done, we make it out and find ourselves in the RPD parking lot, but unfortunately the gate is shut down, and here we're introduced to the next key character of Leon's story, Ada Wong.
Damn. Need a key card. You gotta be kidding me. Get off of me!
Hey,
Who is that?
stay sharp. Lower it. FBI.
Sorry. Thank you. For your help.
Surprised you made it this far.
FBI, huh? What's going on here?
Sorry, that information's classified.
Where you going?
Do yourself a favor. Stop asking questions and get the hell out of here.
We'll get to talk a bit more about Ada, but for now, we follow her, lose her, and find this jackass who decides to be incredibly vague, causing his direct death at the hands of, well, a hand.
Shit. It's coming.
What? What's coming?
Come on, don't be an asshole. Hey, you need this. Just get me the fuck out of here.
Oh my god.
And he had the parking permit we needed to get out of here, so we need to find a way to get into the cell and nab it so we can escape this nightmare. This introduces us to the second overarching puzzle of the game. We need to find 2 electrical parts to fit in this electrical panel so that we can unlock the cells here in the jail. The first can be found nearby while you make your way to turn on the power here in the garage. Unfortunately, doing so releases some more mules, but despite all the drugs running through their system, or maybe because of it, these dogs can't aim for shit. So dodging them is actually pretty easy. We make our way back into RPD proper through the shutter door where we met that first officer who's now embraced the local culture, and back up the main hall of the RPD where we use this crank to unlock a new section of the map. We make it up to the top of the station where we climb down this broken ladder, solve a very quick puzzle, pick up a second key, and make our way to the now not on fire helicopter or you can make the absolute best part of this game, the resident the resident Disney park worker. You see, he's just playing a villain and has to stay in character, otherwise he'll get shot by Disney. So don't be too surprised when he chokeslams you into the hardwood floor. This is Mr. X, and he will now be chasing you around the station for the rest of your time here. You can hear his steps from a good distance away, and save for either save rooms or very few other rooms, he'll chase you down with the passion of a mother during a Black Friday sale, and you've got the last Barbie doll. You can't kill him, only slow him down, so it's normally best to just loop him somewhere and go where you need to go. Speaking of where we need to go, it's time to head to the 3rd floor west side to solve this puzzle here in the clock tower to get the last electronic part. We make our way back to the holding cells and solve this puzzle to open the cells and nab the pass. Unfortunately, this opens up all the other cells as well, so we can either escape to the hallway of Floridians or deal with one Jack Disney employee. I decided on the Disney employee because it's easier to loop him, and I'm pretty sure I'd get rabies if I went down the other way. Unfortunately, we don't escape quite as cleanly as we thought, but Ada's here to remind us that no matter how hard life gets, we can always make it through with just a little bit of controlled violence. Having finally made it out of the station with Ada, we took a brief pit stop at Kendo's gun shop, where we have a brief encounter with the gunsmith himself. I actually see him in the next game as well, since Jill actually visited Kendo earlier in the night canonically. We make it past the shop where Ada gives us a bit of exposition as we delve into the sewers and encounter the next boss, Flora's very own cryptid, Mahamba.
Ugh. You sure this is the right way?
Unfortunately.
Wait there.
Leon! Get out of there!
To call this a boss fight really isn't fair, as it's more of just running away properly until you blow up its face. But after this brief encounter, we find one of the minds behind the G-Virus, the cause of this accursed city's outbreak, Annette Birkin. And honestly, while I won't really be touching on the acting performances here since I don't really enjoy putting that into my scripts too often, it just doesn't ever really seem to flow well for me, I will say that I was not a really big fan of Annette's voice acting.
Stop!
Well, geez, some people just can't take criticism these days. We now step into the shoes of Ada for just a little bit, and she sheds her Columbo cosplay to finally reveal her signature red dress. This section of the game is really short and not super plot relevant. Ada chases Annette and solves a few puzzles, runs into a Disney employee, and nearly gets burnt to a crisp by Annette for trying to take something that wasn't hers in the Lost and Found. This section ends with Annette failing to kill Ada, but she does now have a rusty piece of metal, so let's just hope Ada's got her tetanus shots. And it's here where I actually want to talk about Ada a little bit, since I won't really be able to talk about her anywhere else in the script except the very end. Ada's a very interesting character, especially for someone who knows what she will become later on in the series. I think her portrayal here was actually really well done. She gives this mysterious aura that she can't be trusted, and as Leon says later, it almost makes you want to trust her. But I'm getting ahead of myself here, so let's get back to the script. We take back control of Leon, who's just waking up after getting shot at, and it's time to start looking for Ada. We wade through some more sewage, which could not be healthy for that gunshot wound he's got, and make our way to the place where Ada is trapped, and to the next major puzzle of the game. To open the locked door, we need to find all the missing fuse parts and place them in the proper order. Honestly, I'm just gonna skim through the sewer section of this game because unlike the previous sections in the RPD, this whole section felt like a lot of nothing. It's honestly the weakest section of the game and doesn't really add anything of value. So you pick up this piece here in the tunnels, go past these horrifying abominations that I couldn't think of a funny name for, to pick up the queen and king plugs as well as a trusty new flamethrower, and make our way back to solve the puzzle so we can get to Ada. Unfortunately, we need to turn on the power to get to her, and when we try to do just that, we get to the next proper boss of the game, G2, which is just G1 but bigger. Now, this fight isn't really all that hard, but it's fun. All you have to do is aim for the glowing eyeballs that'll stun him enough to where you can hit him with a literal crate. Be careful though, because you can insta-kill yourself with a crate if you happen to be in his way too. But after taking care of G for the second time now, it's time to go and get Ada.
Come on. Ada! Ada, where are getting worried there for a sec.
I can't get it out.
I don't know if I should,
Just do it. I can't walk like this.
Okay. It's gonna hurt. Hold on.
I can do it myself.
Just relax, okay? So, what do we do now?
Get yourself out of here. While you still can.
I'm not just gonna leave you. Not like this.
You don't understand. The situation's worse than I thought.
You're not getting rid of me that easy. You protected me. Now it's my turn.
Didn't realize we were keeping score.
Grab my shoulder.
Don't push it, rookie.
Okay, just trying to help. Watch your step.
You want to help? We have to get to the nest.
Nest?
Umbrella's lab, right beneath us. Net let it slip. That's where the virus samples are. You up for this?
I think I could fit it in my schedule.
Come on. We got work to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Now's the last chance to tie up any loose ends. You have both the sewers and the RPD at your disposal, so do any less exploring that you need to before taking the cable car down towards Umbrella's secret base. The Nest. After some sexual misconduct on Ada's part, gonna need to talk to your FBI supervisor about that one, Leon makes his way into the Nest, the final section of the game. With the wristband that we got from Ada, we're able to visit certain sections of the lab, depending on our clearance level. The final overarching puzzle of the game is this, and we need to find upgrades to our clearance to be able to get to the lab where the G-Virus sample is held. We start with the level 1 clearance, but after a short visit to the cafeteria, because Leon realized that he hasn't had any food and has been firing on all cylinders for hours, we find a level 2 clearance chip in Umbrella's designated napping room, which, honestly, would really love to have that in my place of work. That sounds great. We use this level 2 clearance to make our way to the central hub of the lab and take the only path available to us, where we get to go to what I'm pretty sure is either a botanist's worst nightmare or their wettest dream. Plant 43, the sequel to the plant boss from Remake that we skipped called Plant 42, has taken over its habitation area, pinning the poor soul with the level 3 access. We need to disperse a solution to clear out the overgrown vegetation, so we take this cartridge, open up some locks with this pad here, and solve the absolute worst puzzle in this game. This solution puzzle, this goddamn solution puzzle, is truly my biggest enemy in this game. It's simple in concept. You just need to fill the line using the liquid in these 3 vials, but for the life of me, my brain could not comprehend solving it, no matter how many playthroughs I give this game. I hate this puzzle and it should feel bad for existing. But now that we have the solution, we need to go freeze it for it to be usable, and then put it into the sprinkler system to wilt away a good portion of Plant 43, leaving that level 3 chip to be grave robbed by the world's unluckiest rookie in the world. But as it turns out, we're still on Disney property, so the only one able to grave rob on premises are the soldiers of Michael Theodore Mouse. So the Disney employee shows up again and tries to apprehend us, but we give him the slip rather easily and make our way towards the G-Virus sample. On the way there, we get some more exposition through the form of a videotape. I haven't really talked about these much, but this one's pretty neat, as it shows what happened to Annette's husband William, and Umbrella's initial attempt to secure the virus. We also get formally introduced to the real best character in the game, Hunk, baby! Hell yeah! Hunk is so cool and awesome! But after learning more about the inciting incident of what's going on here in the Sunshine State, we finally get our hands on the G-Virus. Fortunately, G2 is back, and he seems upset about us dropping a shipping container on him. Thankfully, Annette is here to shoot him with some cleared goop, and to drop the fact that this is actually William, corrupted and transfigured by his very own creation that he injected himself with. But now's not the time to talk, as William throws Annette into the wall, and she decides to make that our problem as we enter the next boss fight with him.
What are you doing?
We can't let him get away!
All right, we end this here.
G3 is fairly simple but tough. His swings will hurt like crazy, but he's got very clear weak points like always. Shoot him in his body eyes and he'll open up this crazy, disgusting looking cluster of eyes that can be shot at while he's knocked down. With enough firepower, you'll be able to take him down once and for all. Afterwards, we learn from Annette something unsavory about our companion. As it turns out, Ada's been lying to us. She's not FBI, but a merc. And as we confront her about this, she holds us up and Leon does the same to her. But despite this being a video game about the living dead, it seems that Annette's the one who just won't die, and she takes this impossible shot from right behind Leon right into Ada's shoulder. The G-Virus sample falls into the depths below, and Leon tries to save Ada, but his grip just isn't good enough. He can't pull her up. So Ada does the one thing she knows will get him to safety, and she drops.
Take care of yourself, Leon.
No!
Betrayed though we may feel, this was actually really sad. Unfortunately, we don't have time to mourn the loss. The lab is gonna blow, and we need to get out of here fast. We take the main elevator and escape lower down, where we find a control room and who else but Claire on a screen from somewhere within the facility. She says that she thinks she might have a way for us to get out, but she cuts out, so we just kinda have to keep on trucking. Unfortunately, as we make our way out, we have yet another encounter with the Disney employee, and this time, he's gonna make sure that we are taken in for our crimes of grave robbing. But thanks to a well-timed chain of explosions, we're able to escape, for a total of 2 minutes before he comes back even fiercer than before. This is the Super Tyrant, the final boss of the game. He's incredibly tough, especially if you don't have much ammo to deal with him. Fun fact, this is the only time I died in this entire playthrough, and he killed me not once, but twice. The toughest part of this fight is that he's got super wide swings that deal an incredible amount of damage, and the arena is really small, and it only gets smaller as bits of rubble rain down and limit the space even more. But when we're down to the wire, it seems that we get one final gift from a ghost, a rocket launcher, to take down the Disney employee once and for all.
We'll call it even.
Where did this thing come?
Suck on that, Disney! And with that, it's just a quick jaunt to these tracks where a train is already making its way. We hop on and finally find ourselves safe from the terrors of Florida once and for all. And even better yet, Claire is here. But who's that little girl she's with? Okay, so I'm going to keep this part very brief. This script is already getting pretty long as is, and I'm ready to just work on the RE4 video because that's the longest game here by far. This game is what's called a second run version of the story, where you play as the opposite character throughout the story and you get the important plot beats. So, let's see what Claire got up to after that awkward flirting moment from the beginning of the game, shall we? Claire makes her own way through the RPD, running into all the same troubles and solving most of the same puzzles as Leon did, but just slightly differently. But instead of finding Ada, Claire instead finds one Sherry Birkin, daughter to Annette and William Birkin. Unfortunately, Al from Al's Toy Barn shows up, but instead of investigating into children's toys, he seems to have dropped the comb over and picked up the role of police chief. This is Chief Irons, a disgusting old man who takes Sherry less than 5 minutes after getting to know her. We do some exploring as Claire, again, solving the same puzzles but slightly altered, but the more interesting bit is when we actually get to play as Sherry. Instead of playing like Ada, Sherry's section is all about stealth. She's a small child going against a full-grown fat man after all, she won't be able to do much. Like Ada's section, this is short-lived, but despite my usual disdain for these hide-only horror games, this is how I think it can be done well. There's a small, fun section to ease the player from needing to be mentally aware of their current situation at all times. The rest of the game plays out pretty similar to Leon's. Visit the sewers, save Sherry like Leon saved Ada, and go to the lab where you have to do that stupid solution puzzle again! But the main difference, besides having a small child with us and realizing what an awful parent Annette is,
Just get the Glock, Sherry. That's what we taught you. I did, but there weren't any bullets.
I don't have time for this, you should have looked for some bullets. Like, seriously, if they were still alive, these parents really needed to be looked into CPS. But, as I was saying, the main difference is in the final boss fight. While Leon took care of the Disney employee, Claire decided to take matters into her own hand and personally hand over William's papers, no longer recognizing him as the legal father of the child she intends to adopt. And by handing William papers, I mean of course unloading 400 rounds of hot lead from a minigun she picked up next to the train. This is a very simple fight, and acts more like a victory lap. Just make sure you're paying attention and don't stumble. Oh, he's coming for me!
Oh, yeah, I'm the one, you moron.
And with that, we come back to the present, where Leon joins the girls at the front of the train. And also with that, we can go to the final boss of the game, William Birkin's final form. This really isn't a tough fight either, to be honest. He actually doesn't even really fight back. It's as simple as unloading every single bullet you can find in your pockets into him before he gets close enough to swallow you whole.
Ah! What the fuck? Holy shit, what? What happened to you? I looked away and I looked back and your legs were sticking out.
But with him gone, we are actually finally done with the story of Resident Evil 2. This game is always a fun one to come back to. The characters are incredibly likable, and it's no wonder that Leon is as popular as he is. He may be a bit less cheesy in this game than the original, but he still has an optimistic and honestly very charming performance, and Claire was just so cool to see how she handled herself. She was always so sure anytime a challenge came up, and it made playing through the game for the second run more enjoyable seeing her reactions compared to Leon's. This game is incredible, and we didn't even talk about everything it has to offer. After being the main game, you get access to the extra modes, from the what-if scenarios of the Ghost Survivors, to the Force Survivor where you get to play as Hunk Baby! Or even the Joke Tofu Survivor where you get to play as a Japanese-speaking piece of sentient tofu. This game will always give you something to come back to, and I can't recommend it enough for anyone wanting to get into the series. While Remake might be my favorite game in the series, as I mentioned earlier, Resident Evil 2 Remake is, without a doubt, the perfect entry point for anyone trying to get into the series. I'm excited to talk about the next game in the series, Resident Evil 3 Remake, and talk about all of what it is. You'll just have to see next week. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you later.